What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA. All right, check it out. So by now, you guys have heard the statements that have come from George Lucas, basically saying, yes, Bob Iger and Disney, they're all that in a bag of chips. We love them. I support them 100%. They got all my shares. You know, these guys are going to get the job done. Go, Bob. Yay. You know, so by now, you guys have all heard this statement, okay? And some of us are saying, I don't know about that, okay? I don't know about this statement that George Lucas has come out here and said. You can see on this headline, by deadline, George Lucas comes out in support of Bob Iger. Disney in proxy battle. Creating magic is not for amateurs. Okay. Right there, that's where the bullshit meter just went off for me, okay? If they didn't include this part in their, doctored statement, all right? Because I feel like George didn't say this shit. He didn't say this line, okay? You could argue that maybe he said the rest of this. He didn't say that, okay? And it's this right here that said, that sent off my little bullshit detector. I'm like, hold up. That don't sound like George Lucas, okay? That don't sound like the guy that created Star Wars, the guy that pretty much focused and pushed independent filmmaking, all right? Hated the studio systems, all right? Hated it with a passion that he refused to join the Directors Guild. He said, yo, I'm not joining the guild. That don't sound like George Lucas, all right? The guy that created Industrial Light and Magic would not have said creating magic is not for amateurs. He never would have said that because everybody that worked over there at Industrial Light and Magic, they weren't professionals, all right? He was grabbing people from everywhere, and none of them had... Look, let me jump to this. Yeah, this is on Star Wars' website, okay? StarWars.com. This is on their website, all right? The legends of ILM discuss half a century of movie magic, okay? The people that create magic, Oh, this isn't for amateurs, right? This is George Lucas created ILM, okay? Industrial Light and Magic. Look at this statement right here. This is from Joe Johnston. This is what he says, all right? It is something that could never happen again. He's talking about the creation of Industrial Light and Magic. Director and visual effects artist Joe Johnston tells StarWars.com. All of these different elements came together, some of which had to be created on the spot. They didn't exist like the motion control. Here's the main thing. And there were these people, many of whom hadn't worked in film before, but they had a specific skill and a talent to do one thing. It was just something that came together at that moment in time that could never be repeated again. And we were all lucky to have been a part of it. Yeah, people that hadn't worked in film before. These are the guys that created the greatest special effects company in the history of the world. Do you think the guy that created this and put people to work that had never worked on film before, do you think this guy can say some nonsense like, creating magic? You can't have amateurs out there doing that. Amateurs can't be a part of that. Most of these guys had never worked in film before. They didn't know the first thing about film. They just had to jump in there and they had a specific skill that George says, yo, you got this skill, bring it over here. And let's see if we can put this thing together. Under the tutelage of George Lucas, they were able to get it done. And you see what Industrial Light and Magic has become. It's the greatest special effects company on the planet. And again, this is what I'm saying. This is why, the philosophy and the ideology that goes behind a guy like George Lucas, the philosophy that goes behind this guy, he never would have made this statement, okay? This statement never would have been made by that man. So again, that's why the bullshit meter went off for me. It's like, nah, he didn't say that. Okay, he didn't say that. Look, let's look at the statement itself. You could argue that he said the rest, okay? There's an argument that could be made. Creating magic is not for amateurs. When I sold Lucasfilm just over a decade ago, I was delighted to become a Disney shareholder because of my longtime admiration for its iconic brand and Bob Iger's leadership. When Bob recently returned to the company during a difficult time, I was relieved. No one knows Disney better. I remain a significant shareholder because I have full faith and confidence in the power of Disney and Bob's track record of driving long-term value. I have voted all my shares for Disney's 12 directors, and I urge other shareholders to do the same. You could argue, you can make an argument. I still think it's bullshit, but you can still make an argument about this part, all right? This just sounds like normal speak, but this first part, and look, this is directly out of the argument that Bob Iger has been making. Bob Iger has been saying, oh, these guys are amateurs. They don't have any experience in the entertainment industry. And that's complete bullshit because who is Jay Rasulo? He's another one of the guys that's trying to get a seat on the board. Jay Rasulo worked for Disney for 30 years. What is this dude talking about? He's been saying this. Oh, these guys don't have, he's talking about Nelson Peltz. These guys don't have the experience. He's talking about Nelson Peltz, but Jay Rasulo's right there. Okay. Former CFO of Disney. You cannot make that argument, Bob. I'm sorry. So that's why, again, all of this crap right here, it just rings completely hollow. Okay. I don't buy it. I don't think that George Lucas made this statement, at least this part. Again, you can make the argument for the rest. All right. You can say, all right, all of this other crap is, basically something that George said. And then it's the timing of it all, right? The timing. We're literally 2 weeks out from the shareholders vote. 2 weeks away. And now it's the time that George Lucas decides to speak out of absolutely nowhere. Dude just pops up and say, oh, you know what? I want to support Bob Iger. Again, the guy he called a white slaver. You want to support these guys. It just doesn't make any sense. If you put your head to it just for a few seconds to think, it's like, this don't make sense. This don't even sound like some shit George would say, it's a possibility, of course, but it just don't sound like it. But all right, so where are we at? Did George say it? Did he not say it? Okay, I say he didn't say any of this shit. Me personally, all right? I don't think he said any of this. This is his people's, or maybe Iger himself, all right? Wrote up a quick statement. Here, George, sign this right here. Just put your name on the dotted line. That way I can keep my job. Basically, that's what Bob Iger did. It's either that or, yes, George actually said it. We take him at face value. He believes in Disney 100%, all right? Those are your two options. Or maybe there's a third option. I got a third option out here because I'm Mr. Conspiracy Theory. You guys know that. So maybe, George said it, all right? And he's saying it because he knows Disney is trash, all right? And everything Disney does with all of his franchises, Indiana Jones, Star Wars, everything that Disney has done has just made George look that much better by comparison, okay? All right? I was telling a friend one time, I think last week or maybe earlier this week, I don't know. I was telling a friend, hey, the best thing that happened to the prequel trilogy is the sequel trilogy, all right? The sequel trilogy is like, holy crap, George, we may have judged you harshly, okay? The sequel trilogy, absolute garbage. The prequels look amazing by comparison. Same thing with Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Now all of a sudden people are like, yo, Crystal Skull, not too bad, huh? Crystal Skull looks entirely different when you look at it through the lens of the Dial of Destiny and that dog shit. So yeah, it's a possibility that George is like, you know what? I'm coming out right now shining like a rose right now. Every time Disney does another Star Wars thing, I'm going to talk about the Acolyte in a minute, but another thing that Disney has done, the Star Wars, Indiana Jones, just fumbling it, botching it all over the place. And George is like, you know what? Yeah, keep going, Disney, okay? I'm about to shuffle off this mortal coil, all right? Yeah, go ahead, keep making bullshit with my stuff, okay? Because that just makes me look better. I took a lot of heat after the prequels, all right? But I don't take that heat anymore. People are asking me to come back to Star Wars, People been, oh, George, please come back. So, look, that's conspiracy nonsense. I understand that, but, that's the way my brain thinks, because I'm the kind of cat that'll do some shit like, oh, okay, this is what y'all doing with my stuff. Okay, I look a little bit better. I'm just playing. I would never sell anything like this that I own, okay? If I go down, my property goes down with me, But George said, you know what? I want to go ahead and hand it off to Disney, let Disney figure out something else to do with it. All right, respect to George Lucas. He didn't know how bad it was going to get. Or maybe he did because he did put Kathleen Kennedy in charge. So maybe George did know how bad it was going to get and that it was going to be utter trash. But yeah, the guy that called Disney white slavers, he would say all of this stuff. He would use these statements to talk about Disney, all right? These guys are white slavers. He can't stand talking about Star Wars right now. When you talk to this guy about Star Wars, he want to change the subject or he want to go out, look, I sold it, okay? Just leave me the hell alone about it. Like he gets frustrated. We had that moment when he was talking to like some classroom. Man, this dude was going off. He like, no, stop talking to me about Star Wars. So that's it. That's how I look at the situation. I don't know how you guys feel about it. But once again, I just don't think George would make this statement, okay? Again, not digging into it any further than this first sentence, okay? Creating magic is not for amateurs. When you compare that again to everything that he did with Industrial Light and Magic, okay? The fact that this guy hated the studio system with a passion, hated the studio system, hated the way that things were done over there. That's why it's like between the time he directed Star Wars all the way until the Phantom Menace, he hadn't directed anything. He never directed another movie between Star Wars and The Phantom Menace. All the other projects that he worked on and everything, he was a writer, he was a story by guy or whatever. He never directed anything until The Phantom Menace came out. And that was it. Because he wanted to stay independent. He wanted to be an independent, free, creative guy. And he hated how Hollywood did business. And that's the reason why he created Lucasfilm. So he can have his own production company and do his own thing. So again, I don't buy it, okay? Again, he's using Bob Iger talking points. Y'all really think I'm gonna buy that shit? It's bullshit. Okay, that's how I look at it. Anyway, folks, you guys let me know what y'all think about this situation. Did George really say it, or did he not say it? Or do you buy my conspiracy theory that he said it, but he said it to try to, haha. I always look good every time Disney drops some more of my stuff. Every time they put another Lucasfilm project out there, I look great, all right? I'm telling you, man. Again, I don't think that's really what it is, but I'm a conspiracy theorist. That's how I get down. Anyway, you guys let me know what you think. Jump down in the comments. Give me your thoughts and opinions on that. Thanks for watching.